everybody, welcome to day 13. It is 10 to 10 in the morning. All my jobs are done. I'm feeling quite impressed with my little self this morning. I'm just contemplating nipping to the garage for a coffee. I think I am. I think I might. So I have remeasured Danny's gauge swatch and seem to be getting the same measurements. So the only thing I can think is I stretched it when I measured it before blocking. I've been really careful when I've measured it again. So according to this, is on the first size. I'm a little bit nervous, to be honest, but I'm gonna go for it. Yeah, first size apparently. We shall see. So I'll probably start that at some point today. I have all the testers now for my socks, so thank you very, very much for those of you that got in touch and offered to help me out and test the pattern. As usual, Luigi's just about to start at the window. He knows when I pick up the camera. He has not made a murmur all morning. I got up at 7 o'clock this morning, didn't hear a peep out of him. The second I've pressed record, he's started. Oh well. Yeah, I've got an appointment this afternoon. I think that's about 2:30. I want to see if that dye turns up today. So I'm kind of like up and down, pottering around, looking out the window for the postman. It's a bit early for the postman yet, but sometimes when you've got a parcel, they bring it first before they do the rounds. So I'm just like peeking around out of the kitchen window every 2 minutes. I really hope it comes today. The Switch was fab. I took it to bed last night and played that Krusty Krabs game for ages. I'm on my second restaurant now. Quite impressed with myself. And my Nintendo now has gone flat, so it's on charge. Told you it was going to start. Told you, I could tell. He waits till I pick up the camera. Never mind. So, yeah, I'm going to probably cast Danny's sweater on at some point today and get that started. I'm a little bit nervous it's the first size, but you know, it's not big. It's probably is right. I think it's just, you know what it's like when you're knitting something for somebody else, you know, you're over cautious. Let me just let the cat out, because you know we won't shut up. Yeah, you're over cautious about every little thing, and I don't want to do all that work and have messed it up, but I've done my measurements, so let's just see. I am quite nervous. On the plus side, it's chunky weight yarn. There's less stitches on this than there was for mine, so it shouldn't take that long to knit. It's on 6mm needles, so it shouldn't take that long to knit. But yeah, right, I'm going to decide what I'm doing. I think it's going to be just a quick drive round to the garage and see if I can get myself a Costa.
Welcome back to the car journey, everybody.
Came for me coffee.
The coffee is now here. Oh, thank you very much, everybody.
Set off in second gear. That wasn't good.
Jeez, I thought she would give me a look. So
put my coffee down.
Yep,
I'm
she
trying to
already
drive. You don't even drink coffee.
I used to drink coffee.
Yeah, but you don't now.
I can do it just for today.
No.
No? Well, I hope you're all having a lovely time, everybody. Welcome back to the car vlogs.
Yeah.
I'll just call them car vlogs.
Should just call it car vlogs.
So yeah, I don't think there'll be a lot today. I'm still waiting for the dye. Once I get the dye, then I'll show you more.
Crack on.
I'll show you some yarn dye. At the moment, I'm pretty stuck in a limbo until I get my dyes.
We can dye, just neither of us want to. This is what I said last night. We want to play with the new dye.
I want to play with the new dye. So
which means we're going to be on such a time pressure to get all the update yarn done. But
I'm not bothered. After spent 8 hours dyeing yarn, I'm not bothered. I'm waiting for the dye.
That's busy on here. What's going on?
I'm determined to use the new dye. The colour I want to play with. So
do we get 2 new colours that we haven't used before?
yes.
We don't tend to get a lot of different colours because we tend to mix colours.
Yeah, we tend to create colour within the colour.
I've said this before on the vlogs. For the first year and a half, we had red, yellow, green, and blue. That was all we had. No, red, yellow, blue, and black.
Yeah.
They're the only colours we used, and we just used to mix them to get the other colours.
Yeah. We went all did it all like scientific.
It works though.
Yeah.
You don't need.
You don't need every single colour.
You don't, unless you want in a neon.
Yeah, unless you want a neon, of course. But yeah, that's how he designed it. So yeah, thank you very much for coming back, everybody. I don't know if there's going to be a lot to do today. Is there?
I don't know.
So we've been out everywhere already yesterday to sort everything out.
Yeah, we went out yesterday. I've got all because I've been up early. Well, saying I got up early, I didn't get up early. I always get up at 7. But everything's done this morning.
See, I got up late yesterday, as you were aware. But today I've been up really early, so I've managed to split everything I need to fix for my own personal
Yeah, I've got
self.
right shopping you out.
Yeah, so I've kind of like sorted out everything I need to do. Alex has done her workout and sorted everything out she wants to do. So basically, the rest of the day is knitting,
I
aka.
might have a knitted day. It won't happen.
It won't be because you'll be playing a new game. That's what it will be.
It's
it
not
be
that. Play that on an evening. It's it just never works out that way for us. It did last Friday though.
Did last Friday. But yeah, so I hope you're all okay.
Home now.
I'm going now. So,
It's got the camera at a right angle, hasn't it? What's going on?
oh, you know, making you want to look like that. You see different angles. You know, make your head tilt.
That's actually really
So
hot.
before she spills it on me, stay safe, everybody, and we'll catch you in a bit.
Bye. Can you see where he's sat? Talking to you, Bert. That's clean washing. That I've folded up, waiting to take upstairs. And this is what he does, he sits on it. And he knows he shouldn't be sat on it, that's why he's moving. That's clean washing, isn't it? Hey? Sorry for the weird angle. It was the only way I could get Bert in. And that's Bert's paws. Hello. Is that camera straight? I think it's straight. It's 5:30, which means it's time for me to come on and have a chat and ask you all about your day. What have you been up to? Have you had fun? Have you been working? Have you had a day off? What have you been doing today? I have had a pretty relaxing day, I'm not going to lie, which I feel quite spoiled by because now I've had 2 days within the space of a few days of each other, which never happens, where it's just been quite chilled out and not a great deal to do. So because of that, I have done a lot of knitting. So I'll wait till I get to the end of this row and I'll show you. Yeah, so I'm really pleased with myself. It's only because we're waiting for Di. That's the only reason. It didn't come today, so I'm hoping it'll come tomorrow. A little bit annoyed about it because it's not really on. What day is it today? It's Tuesday. So it's been 8 days since I placed the order. But never mind, these things happen. Yeah, so I've chilled out for most of the day and done quite a bit of knitting. And it's been rather nice. The cats are all sleeping. There are 4 cats in this area. I won't turn the camera around because it looks a bit, I don't know, you know when you see them horror movies and there's like all the cats, that's kind of how it looks. And I kind of think, have I got too many cats? I mean, I don't think I've got too many cats. I only ever had 2. And so I had Tilly and Polly. All my life I've only ever had 2 cats, which I think is a normal amount of cats. And then when I had Tilly and Polly, I ended up getting Luigi as a rescue. And then ended up with Bert as a rescue, because I can't say no to a rescue. Although I have done this past year, because we can't have more than what we've got. When we had 6 cats, that was too many. But bless Tilly, she passed away a couple of years ago now. She was amazing. But yeah, and then we only got Jack for Danny's daughter Ruby because she really wanted a kitten. She used to really want to play with the cats, and obviously all the cats were quite a bit older and didn't really want to sit and play with her, and they'd just walk off. So we promised her a kitten and we went to get Jack, but ended up coming back with Jack and Stuart, which is how we've ended up now. We had 6 and we've got 5, which is a lot. So, do you know what? I'm just going to show you because you don't see the effect that I'm talking about unless I show you. There you go. There's a lot of cats. Luigi is asleep upstairs in the dog bed. He started sleeping in there, bless him. And the dog doesn't mind as long as she's not trying to get in it. Ruby only uses her upstairs bed. She used to have 2 beds. She'd have one downstairs and one upstairs. When the downstairs one got a bit taggy, we didn't replace it because she barely used it. So she just has her upstairs bed. She's not allowed in the bedroom, isn't Ruby? So she sleeps in a bed outside the bedroom door when we go to bed. So she doesn't mind any of the cats sleeping in it unless it's a night time, and then she does get a bit funny about it. Ruby follows me everywhere, absolutely everywhere. If I go for a bath, Ruby will come with me. And if there's a cat in a bed, normally if I'm in the bath, Ruby will sit in a dog bed. But if there's a cat in the bed, when that happens, she's not bothered. She'll sit on the floor. The only time she's bothered is when it's actually bedtime. And then she wants her own bed. So, yeah. I don't know how I got into that tangent about cats. I'm really sorry. Don't know how that happened. I need a new candle. My candle's gone. Jake bought me that one I showed you that Jake got me for my birthday. I've used it all, so I need to get another candle. It's so weird not having a candle on an evening. Not that it's really evening, it's still quite light out. The weather is staying light. Let me just show you this before I forget. That's my progress so far on Danny's sweater, which is looking a tad small, but I'm hoping it'll be okay. I think it will be because I'm going by my measurements. So I've got to measure to 20, I've got to knit until the whole thing measures 27, 28 inches, something like that, which from my gauge swatch I've worked out is 128 rows. Once I've minused the rib off the bottom, because there's 3 inches of ribbing on the bottom. It's working up really fast because there are only 81 stitches on here. So it's basically like knitting, not many more stitches than knitting Danny's socks, to be honest. So it is working up fast, and it's chunky weight yarn. So there's not actually a great deal of rows there. There is, I'll tell you how many rows there is because I've got stitch markers on. 1, 2, 3. Hang on a minute. Yeah, just coming up to my 40th row. That's it. It's not, I've not done a great deal. It's just that it's chunky weight yarn, so it's working up really fast. What was I saying before that? Oh yeah, it's staying quite light out. It's not even evening, but I need to go out at 6. I've got to take Josh and his friend to their other friends. There's no bus at this time, so I'm going to take them over so they can go and visit. So it's going to be weird. I haven't been out, well, unless it gets dark by 6, which it could possibly, but it's still quite light. And normally when I go out on an evening, it's pitch black. But no, it's still quite light at the moment. And then I'm going to come back and I am going to sit and play on my Switch for a little bit. I'm really pleased with the progress I've made on this sweater today. Like I say, I haven't made a lot of progress. It's chunky weight yarn, it's 6mm needles. So it's not that many rows. But I'm really pleased with that. I'm pleased with the colour that we've chosen. And you know the buttons I originally bought for my cardigan? I think they'll look perfect on this because it needs 3 buttons, or is it 2? Either 2 or 3 buttons. I'll pop a picture on the screen again so you can see what it's going to look like for those of you that are new. But them buttons I bought will they're perfect for this. But I'm really pleased with the colour. The yarn is beautiful. Stylecraft Special always is though, isn't it? It's always nice. So yeah, I'm pleased with it. Pleased with my progress. We have no plans for tomorrow except hopefully yarn dyeing. Fingers crossed we'll be yarn dyeing. If this dye doesn't come tomorrow, we're just going to have to get on with it because I can't leave it any later now. It's the 14th of February tomorrow. The update's on the 1st of March. I cannot leave it any longer. We have got some yarn left over from last update that hasn't gone into the shop. But I need to get on with it. So hopefully we're yarn dyeing tomorrow. Thursday I've got knit group, which last week it was cancelled, not because of the snow, it was because the heating has broken down in the library. I didn't say that at the time when I said knit group's being cancelled. I bet you all thought it was because of the snow. No, it's not. It was the heating's broken in the library, so they had repairmen in. But obviously there was a lot going on, so they didn't open the library. But I think, as far as I know, the heating's not being fixed. It's a much bigger job than they realised it would be. So I'm not sure it's being fixed. But, you know, they give you tea and coffee when you're there. So that's all good. I usually take my own coffee because I always feel really bad if I take theirs. So I usually do take my own. But, yeah. So that's on Thursday. Then Friday, I've got an appointment really early in the morning. I think it's at 8:30 and we've got to get to Eccles Hill. Which I know where Eccles Hill is. I don't know the place where I'm going. And you go through Guiseley first and then you're hitting the outskirts of Bradford. So it's very, very busy. I'm not sure what time we're going to have to set off. In fact, what I might do is when I get up in the morning, because I'm normally up at about 7, I might put the route into my maps on my phone because it'll give you a time. So I'll know on Friday what time we need to set off. This is all my bowel stuff. It's still going on. It's been 2020 was when it started. For those of you that are interested, that are new, I started suffering with severe constipation, like really, really severe, really bad. And at first the doctors were just saying diet. Sorry, I'm just grabbing a stitch marker. I mark my stitches every 10 rows so I can easily count. At first the doctors were just saying diet, And then it became apparent that it wasn't clearing up, and they ended up giving me medication, which I am on medication for it, but it's still not gone. They've tested for celiac, they've tested for Crohn's, and come back negative. It could well be something that I'm eating that I don't realise. I've tried to do like food elimination, like I'm just still going through the process now of eliminating food, seeing if I can find out. They don't think it's anything sinister because it's 4 years down the line and I'm perfectly healthy. They've done all the tests early. It was just before birthday bonanza. They redid the tests looking for anything sinister. So I was very worried at the time, but it all came back negative. They did send me for, is it a colonoscopy last year, but I had a terrible reaction to the medication and couldn't actually have it done because I'd had this awful reaction to the medication, which is just like me. I always react to medication. So now I think they're going to try and do it down the CT scan route. So this appointment is to see the consultant about that, as far as I'm aware, because the issues are still there. They're still not resolved. So we need to find out what's causing it. But yeah, so that's what that's about on Friday. If you wanted to know all that, I'm not sure you did. Probably a little bit too much information there. So yeah, I couldn't have the endoscopy again because I'd had such a bad reaction to the bowel prep they gave you. I was so poorly. So that's not an option in the future. So they have to try and do it with a CT scan. I believe it's, you wait a long time for these things. Although this appointment's come through really quickly, I'm not gonna lie, because when I went to see the doctor in January, he was quite cross that I was still waiting because the colonoscopy was, is it last March? And I've been waiting all this time for a referral for another route. So anyway, I'll see what they say on Friday. So that's on Friday. And I do think there's something pretty big I'm supposed to be doing this week, you know, and I really haven't got a clue. I do write stuff down now. I've got my calendar on my phone and I write everything on it all the time. But I do feel like I've missed something pretty major this week. We're in February. It's not Jake's birthday till next week, so it's not that. Nobody else has got a birthday. Valentine's Day tomorrow. Me and Danny are not prepared for Valentine's Day. We don't do much for Valentine's Day. We show each other love all the time. We don't need a special day of the year to do it. So we don't, you know, we don't do over much. We will hand make a card. I don't know if either of us have done it this time, but we do normally hand make cards. We never buy cards for any occasion. We never have done. We only ever give handmade cards. So we'll probably do something like that. Obviously, he's bought me my Switch for Valentine's Day, which is unusual because we wouldn't normally do something like that. He's got a game off me. He didn't get left out. He's got a game he's playing. What's he can't hear me. He's got his headset on. It's a pirate ship game. I don't know what it is, but he's got a game. So he wasn't left out. It dawned on me after I'd gone to bed last night that I thought, I bet everybody thinks that I didn't get Danny anything. I did. He's got that. But we don't buy anything each other anything for Valentine's Day. That was a mouthful, wasn't it? Wow. Sorry about that. But yeah, it's Valentine's Day tomorrow. Do you know, I forgot it was Pancake Day. That's today, I think. I'm sure it's today. But we haven't done pancakes. It is Pancake Day today. Have I got this right or wrong? I don't know, but I've not made pancakes. How bad's that? The boys aren't bothered. They're really not bothered about pancakes. Do you know, pancakes is one of those things we'll go through stages of cooking at different points in the year. So when they fancy pancakes, Josh is quite good at making them. They can just make them. Finn's good now. He can, you know, cook a fair few things now. So he can make some if he wants them. Now they're older. It's not like when they were little. Finn's 13. He's going to be 14 next. Josh is 17. next month, once I start his driving lessons, I think Josh will be a good driver. I'm not going to lie. I do think Josh will be a really good driver, but still it makes you nervous. I remember, in fact, it was this time, however many years ago, and I only know because it came up on my memories, that Jake passed his test was today. So he'll have been nearly 18. Yeah, he'll have been nearly 18 because he'd got a job as a mechanic, and part of the... He didn't have to pass his test, but it was very beneficial if he passed his test before he started the job. And I think he'd started on the 1st of March. So it wasn't... The job didn't depend on it. You know, if he'd have failed, it would have been fine. But I remember him being really stressed because he wanted to pass. He passed first time with 2 minors. How good's that? When I passed my test, oh my word. Oh, it was awful. It was absolutely awful. My test, I can't go into details, but my test was... I took my driving test when I was 30. And it was quite... I took my driving test because I had to pass my test. There was a reason. I was taking care of somebody and I had to pass my test. It was a very stressful time. I won't go into details, but it was a very stressful time and I had a time crunch to pass it. So I had to do a quick pass course to pass this driving test. And I'd failed 2. And I was really getting stressy because, you know, there was a time crunch to it and I really had to pass. And it came to my 3rd one. My first 2 I passed. The first one I failed and I absolutely should have failed. There was no 2 ways about it. The second one I failed. I do not agree with that fail. I got a major. Was it? Yeah, it was a major. So a major is something dangerous that you've done on the test. And what happened was I was at a major traffic lights in Bradford. And I had to turn right across the traffic lights, which I'd done perfectly safely. But as I made that right turn, a group of people just ran into the road and I had to slam on. And the driving instructor said, you can't stop here. And that is why I failed my second test. I was so cross. I thought, what do you want me to do? Do you want me to drive into people? And she failed me on it because I had to slam on because these people had run out. So I did not agree with that. But my 3rd test, by the time it came to my 3rd test, I was a nervous wreck. I was so stressed out because I knew I had to pass my test that day. That was the final day that I had to pass it. And I was so stressed out. And I went to a driving school in Skipton. And the first 2 times my driving instructor hadn't sat in the... I don't know why you need to know all this, sorry. The first 2 times my driving instructor hadn't sat in the car with me during the test. Although you can have your driving instructor sitting in the car during the test. So when it came to the 3rd time, after my experience of the 2nd test, I said to my driving instructor, I want you with me because I don't want something like that to fail me again. So we'd already planned for my driving instructor, who was just brilliant. He was the best driving instructor in the world. He really was. And he said, right, okay, I'll sit in. So we went into the test centre and they called my name and we went to walk out to the car. And then one of the members of staff had a word with the driving instructor. And I said, what's going on? And he said, oh, the examiner's been audited, unfortunately, so you're going to have 3 of us in the car. Are you okay? Well, I just burst into tears. It was horrendous. All the stresses had just got too much, and I burst into tears. I was nervous anyway, so I had my driving instructor, the examiner, and the person that was auditing the examiner in the car with me, and I just burst into tears. And the examiner said, if you're not ready, it's fine, we can leave it and reschedule. And my driving instructor knew how important it was, and he said, she's fine, just give her a minute, she's fine. And he took me to one side and he said, pull yourself together, you can do this. Anyway, I passed. Oh, that was... I don't know how we got onto that either. I do get onto some subjects, don't I? My driving instructor was very, very good though. He wouldn't take any of my nonsense at all. He did know that it was very important I passed my test. And I remember this one particular day, he was trying to teach me to parallel, was it no, it wasn't parallel park, because I can actually do that really well, believe it or not. It was reversing round a corner, and I just couldn't get it. And the lessons would be like 5 hours at a time, like every day, because I just had to pass. I think I started my lessons mid-September and I passed on the 17th of November. But anyway, this particular day, he was trying to teach me to reverse round a corner and I was just messing up. I was tired, I was stressed out, there was a lot going on and I couldn't get it. And he said, "You're not trying." This is the kind of relationship we had. He said, "You're not trying, Alex, just pull yourself together." And I said, "I can't do it." And he goes, "Well, if you feel like you can't do it and that's your attitude, then just drive home." So the car had been stopped, so I started the ignition and I drove off. And he goes, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm driving home." I didn't. I got on with it. He just didn't take any of my nonsense. And at that point, it's exactly what I needed. But yeah, that was Bradford School of Motoring, if anybody is interested in. It was very, very good. Oh, wow, I'm waffling here. I don't know how I even got on to telling you about my driving test. So I've not actually been driving that long. Well, it is that long, actually. It's 13 years because I'm 43. So I have been driving a long time, but I didn't pass my test when I was young. A lot of you have asked if Danny drives. No, Danny doesn't drive. He's always lived in the city. He's had no need to drive. And for a long time, he's worked on trains. He had no need to drive, so he's never learnt to drive. We did sort of do his lessons a couple of years ago, but they're so expensive at the moment. We couldn't do it. So at the moment, Danny doesn't drive. That may change in the future, but at the moment, he doesn't drive. And I just never learnt to drive because I just didn't. I could never afford to learn to drive when I was younger. I left home quite young, so, I was paying for a house and one thing and another. I never learnt to drive. It was never something that was in the budget until I had to do it. But yeah, wow, what a waffle. I'm really sorry. I really should go. It is now 10 minutes before I've got to take Josh and his friend. So I need to get myself sorted, go and do that, start this video rendering before I go. And do you know what as well? I do apologise for the rubbish thumbnails that have been up this past few days. They've been absolutely pants. I know they've been pants. But I don't know what it is. I just can't get my head around a thumbnail. Like when I do one for the podcast, I find it really easy. But when it's for the vlogs, I find it really difficult. And they've been really rubbish, so I apologise. I know they've been rubbish. So normally I go through the vlog and I take a screen grab of something that looks fairly interesting. And I use that as the thumbnail. But yeah, so I apologise for the rubbish thumbnails. Right, I'm going to go. I'm going to go get myself sorted, take Josh over to his friend's house and get this vlog edited, and I will see you tomorrow for Valentine's Day, everybody. Let's all share the love between each other. Have a lovely evening and I will see you tomorrow.